Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's Antonio checking in. And today I had a little thought on my mind. And that thought was the 3-step process to manifesting your desires. And I know it sounds like, 3 steps. And it is. Now, the 3 steps, how long they take, when they arrive, that's up to the divine. Now, the first step is technically 2 steps, but it depends on the type of individual you are. So the first step to manifesting your desires would definitely be scripting, which is writing down your goals or your dreams, or writing it down, repeating it, reading it, and visualization. You can do both. It depends on the individual. Like me, I have more of a imagination. I do art, I create. So a lot of things I can visually see without writing it down. Now, I'm not negating the fact that writing it down won't help me, because the thing about writing it down, it's just like when you write something and you read it, visuals pop up in your mind. Now, the thing about writing, if you are a person who writes, like my partner, my significant other, she's a writer. So for her, all she has to do is write. You see what I'm saying? Me, I'm a painter. I'm a visual. You see what I'm saying? So I use my imagination, and that comes with developing or learning your true character, who you really are, okay? So that part, you have to really trial and error and study. Are you a scripter or are you a visualizer? Or you can really do both. If you can do both, that's cool. I think and honestly, even though I'm a visual individual, I'm learning to script as well. I haven't really been consistent with scripting as I have with visualizing, but it helps a tad bit more, I've noticed. But if you don't do it, it won't hurt. But you have to do one of the other, because those scripting, those visuals, you cultivating, you prepping your mind, you prepping your mental garden, and those visuals and scripts that you reading, that you visualizing, they're like seeds that you consistently planting into your mental garden. Boom, boom, every time you visualize. And the thing about the visualization is you don't have to always do it. You don't want to force yourself to visualize. You don't want to force yourself to script. You want it to flow. When you get a thought on what you want to see your life as, write it down. Jot it down as a note. Like, say, for instance, you want to live by the beach. Just write, live by the beach. Let's say, for instance, you want to own a restaurant. Put own a restaurant. Say, for instance, you want to have 3 kids. Put 3 kids. Jot it down like notes. Then when it's time to actually write it down, that's when you write it in a full, I guess, paragraph or a sentence, however you choose to do it. Now, as far as the visualization, how I do my visualization, I meditate. First, I know I have a goal. And when I have this goal, as I meditate, now the visuals, they naturally come. Like, if I have to force a visual, then that's too much. Because when it comes to manifestation, there is no force that's needed on your end. And I think that's where a lot of people fail, and that's where a lot of blockages come, because a lot of you guys attempt to force. So let's say, Vince, you have a goal to open a restaurant. When you meditate, or when it's time for you to visualize, just let visuals of a restaurant pop in your head and go with that. And it doesn't always have to be the same visual. You can just picture different scenes of you inside your restaurant business, whether it's you in the kitchen, whether it's you ordering materials for your restaurant, whether it's you creating a menu for your restaurant, whether it's you getting amazing reviews for your restaurant. Just have different visuals around that restaurant. And even when you're scripting, if you was to write down what you would like in your restaurant, get detailed as possible, but just know that as you're reading, the way the mind works, it's gonna generate other images. And just go with it. As long as it's centered around you and your restaurant or you and your desires, just go with it. So that's the first step, learning to script and visualize. This is a key and vital step. Because if you don't script, you don't visualize, then by default, you're gonna get things that you don't desire. And you have to stick to the script. You have to stick to the visual. You have to keep your imagination going. Now, after you develop a consistent script, a consistent visual, we're gonna go on to part 2 of manifesting your desires. And part 2, this is the part where it gets a tad bit complicated. A lot of resistance come in. You know, a lot of stagnation comes. I notice a lot comes with stage 2. And stage 2 is simply getting in alignment. Now, when we talking about getting in alignment, you might have to shift a few habits that no longer serve you. Not saying that you got to get rid of them completely. I mean, but hey, ideally, that would work. But that would be too much force, too much pressure to just wake up and cold turkey get rid of your habits. It works for some, but for the most, it doesn't work. So if you have habits that just genuinely don't serve you, but you get some type of pleasure from them, but they don't serve you, just put them to the side for right now. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it, because this is you getting alignment, whether this is certain thought forms you have, whether it's, eating habits, whether it's just laziness, whether it's just inconsistency. It's an endless supply of habits that don't serve you, that need to get put to the side. And once you manifest your desires, if you want to come back and pick up those habits, then cool, that's on you, that's your life. But the goal is to get what you desire. And getting into alignment is not about being perfect. It's not about being happy all the time. Getting in alignment is simply learning what works for you, learning what's gonna raise your vibration so you can operate on a higher frequency. And when you operate on this higher frequency, you emit a higher frequency. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times you guys may have the script in the visual, but you're operating on a lower vibration. And on that low vibration, you're emitting a lower frequency. And the ways you can stay in alignment is simply, for me, I recommend meditation or some form of meditation, but I do recommend the form of meditation where you either sit in silence or sit with some type of music, because you want to calm your mind. You want to hone in on your inner world, And when you do this, you start to get downloads, and when you get these downloads will intuitively guide you and lead you to the next step that you have to take. Whether that step be a step that's going towards your desire, or whether that's a step going towards your alignment. And it may be both. And honestly, if it's a step going towards your alignment, it's going to be a step that's going towards your goal. So definitely want to adopt the habit of meditation, And the second thing that I do that I'm getting back into, you want to start eating a tad bit lighter. I'm not saying that you have to go vegan. I'm not saying go vegetarian. I'm not saying go pescatarian. I'm not saying giving up your meat. But what I am saying, from my experience, is to eat a little lighter. Eat less processed. Learn how to fast. And when I say fast, develop your own style of fasting. Don't go on Google and attempt to do what somebody else is doing, because what's working for somebody else may not work for you. You may have health conditions that may hurt you or harm you if you just up and stop eating cold turkey. You can go intermittent fasting. You can go on fast where you say, hey, I'm fasting from meat, or I'm fasting from cooked food. I just want to eat fruit today. I just want to eat light today. Or you can do the intermittent fasting where you stop eating at a certain time of the day, but learn to eat lighter than what you are already eating. Now, if you already eating light, then cool, go for it. Keep doing it. But for the most part, I know that people in America, we eat heavier than normal. That's pretty much all we do in America is eat. But meditation, eating lighter / fasting. Now you determine how light you want to eat. You determine the style of fast and how long you want to fast. Like yesterday, I got back on my fasting, but I went light. Like yesterday, I ate, I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I ate some oatmeal for breakfast. Of course, I had some tea. I had a smoothie, I had a protein style smoothie. I had a mango, and I was getting a little weak, so I ate like a peanut butter cracker. But honestly, that was all I ate yesterday. And at the end of the day, I started getting like a little headache because, I wasn't really eating. But I just wanted to give myself a direction or order and obey it. Because they say obedient is better than sacrifice. So if you guys can give yourself a direction or order and obey it, that's better than just going like, I'm going to quit this, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Just obey the directions you give yourself, because you have the divine, or the divinity in you. You have the God within you. And remember, obedient is better than sacrifice. So we got to meditate. We got fasting, eating lighter. This all to help you get in alignment. Spending time in nature. I'm not saying you have to be a nature freak, but get out into nature, because we living in a world now where we swamped with technology. Everything is moving super fast. All this radiation we all on our phones. It's just, everything is, so fast right now. And I think we lose sight of the power of nature. So get out into nature. Just go walk a nature trail when you get time. Don't force it. Find a nature trail near you. Once again, we live in America. I'm pretty sure it's some type of park, some type of nature trail that you can go to. And if you don't have a nature trail you can go to, just get outside. Take your shoes off, take your socks off, stand in the grass. Ground. Get centered with the earth. Telling you, these things raise your vibration. They keep you in alignment. And when you are more in alignment, your visual and your scripting, they appear more consistently in your physical reality. So meditate, some type of fasting, eat lighter, spend time in nature, and the rest you can kind of figure out based on your lifestyle. Like for me, the next step will be to create. And I create art. And that keeps me in a certain alignment. Just creating in general. So I will also add that, some form of creation. I don't know what it is. If you're a poet, if you love to dance, if you love to play an instrument, even if you love to tell jokes, I don't know, but do something that you love, because that's going to also keep you in alignment to your goal. And 9 times out of 10, whatever it is that you love, I'm pretty sure it's something you probably trying to manifest, or it's something that you scripting and visualizing. So that's the first two. The first two things to manifest your desires: scripting, visualizing, This is really one or two things. The second thing that you want to do is to stay or get in alignment. This is probably going to be a rough step, but once you get it down packed, it's going to be smooth. And remember, anytime that you feel like you have to force something, stop it, reassess the situation, and know that, hey, when it comes to manifesting, there's no force needed. Now, after you get into alignment, like I say, I recommend meditation, fasting, eating light, time in nature, and some type of creative hobby. And nowadays, I even throw in motivational videos, literature that'll help uplift you, because that does work. I'm not going to sit here and lie. It does. Now, the third thing is the part that most people just like, how do I do that? And even me, I'm still learning this process or this particular step. Because the visualization, I got it because of the imagination. The stand in alignment is just a form of discipline. Now, this last step is like, and the last step is to detach from all of it. And I know you're like, how the world do I detach? If I just script it, I just visualize, I just did all this to stay in alignment just to detach from it. And when I say detach, I don't mean just don't care about it, or forget about it. But in a sense, I am saying forget about it and don't care about it. Because if you ever notice in life, if you wanted something so bad, it's like it repelled from you. But the moment that you stop caring and don't care about it, it's like it just pop up. That job that you was looking for, and after a while, you was like, man, I ain't studying it no more. And all of a sudden, they want to call and not even give you the interview, offer you the job over the phone, or, that some money you was waiting for to come through and you were just wanting it so bad. Then all of a sudden, you like, man, I'm tired of stressing and thinking about this money. Then all of a sudden, boom, it pop up because you didn't necessarily forget, but you detached. You got to a point where you was like, man, F it. I'm done with it. And that's what you have to do with your manifestations or your desires or your goals. You got to get to a point of detachment where you know that, hey, I've done my part. I planted my seeds. I cultivated my yard, my mental garden. And in due time, I know that it will appear. Now, when you detach, when it comes to your manifestation, I will say detaching is basically you giving the universe full power and authority to deliver on divine timing, which means that it doesn't matter how it happens or when it happens. That's why you need to detach. Because once you get to this stage, a lot of times what we try to consciously do is figure out, how is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? I need it to happen now. I script, I visualize, I did everything I did to stay in alignment. But now you're so attached to it that you actually creating a magnet, or not even a magnet, you're creating a force where your desires are here with you, aligned with you, but that force that you create in that attachment is repelling them back. So the detachment is just being in a state of knowing that, hey, I did my part. The universe is going to meet me halfway. And once you start developing that mindset and go on about your day, and even if it helps to act as if, because you do want to get to a point where you acting as if your desires are already happening. So you don't have to sit around and think about it. Because if you had all your desires, let's say, for instance, you had that restaurant you wanted, or you had the money that you desire, you wouldn't sit around just visualizing your successful restaurant because it's already a success. You wouldn't visualize having money in your bank because it's already there. So you got to get to this point of detachment and act as if. It's like a mental finesse that you have to continually practice. And it's similar to Kung Fu. You gotta practice over and over. You gotta practice this same kick over and over so you can perfect it. And it's the same thing with manifestation. You have to practice this and cultivate this over and over and over and over so you can perfect it. So when you get to these different stages, especially the detachment stage, you'll know that, hey, so might it be. In divine timing, in divine order, you will get what you desire. So just remember that these steps are easier said than done. And they are. The first step to manifesting your desire is scripting / visualization. The second step is to get in alignment. The third step is to detach. And I'm telling you, once you master these 3 steps, your manifestation is going to go through the roof. But you have to know that everything happens in divine timing. Thank y'all. Peace.